Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make these 3D dark and darker thumbnails. So let's get started. I have some 3D renders already made, so go down below in the description to the Google Drive link. Once you're here, download any image you want for your thumbnail. I will be updating this frequently, so if you're looking for more of these images, go to my Discord link down below in the description for updates. I'm going to be using this wizard one for the tutorial. And also, if you go to Iron Mace's website and you scroll all the way down and you download this press kit, you'll get all these folders. And in the artwork section, I use some of these artworks for the backgrounds of my thumbnails. So if you want to download it, I'll link Iron Mace's website down in the description. I will be using one of the backgrounds for this tutorial. Once downloaded, open up your photo editing software. I'm going to be using Photoshop for this tutorial. Once we have Photoshop open, we're going to go to New File and we're going to make a 1920 by 1080p custom document. So I'm going to go over to that press kit folder that we downloaded right here. I'm going to go into the artworks folder and I'm going to grab one of these backgrounds. Let's go with this one. Drop it in there, and then I'm going to resize it so it fits the entire document. Like that. And then double click to finish it. And then I'm going to grab the picture of the wizard and I'm going to drag it also into my document. And I'm going to resize it a bit. Right there. Alright, let's start with our background. So first thing I like to add to a background is a blur. So if we go to up top to filter, we go to blur. My personal choice, I like the radial blur. And you can either go with spin or zoom. You can test each one out, see what you like more. I like zoom, so I'll go with zoom. And either 9 or 10, I'll go with 10. Gives it this nice little zoom blur. When we do that, I'm going to create a new layer. So come down here and click new layer. You can rename it if you want. We'll rename it to color. We'll grab the brush tool, which is B, or come over here to the brush. We can change the color here to whatever color you like. In this tutorial, we'll go with blue. Click OK. And you can increase the size of the brush with a right bracket. And we'll just color all of this background blue. Once you color it all blue, we will double click the color layer. We'll change the blend mode to overlay and we'll turn down the fill opacity. I usually turn it down between 30 and 40%. Click OK. Now we get this nice blue background. And now we need to brighten up the background so it pops out. So what we can do first is go back to the background layer. Control U to open up hue and saturation. Turn up the saturation. Click OK. And then what we can do is come down here to this circle. And we're gonna make two adjustment layers. We're going to make a vibrance and we're going to make a brightness and contrast. And now what we are going to do is we want to link these two layers to specifically the background one. So if we hold left alt, we'll get this drop down arrow and we'll click in between the layers. And you'll know if you do it right because there'll be a drop down arrow right here. So let's go to vibrance. We'll turn up the vibrance and the contrast. I'll pop out the colors. We'll go to brightness and contrast to turn it up the brightness. Like that. So once we're done with that, what I like to do sometimes, depending on the thumbnail, is I'll create a new layer and we'll put it above our color layer. And we'll change the colors to black. Go to the brush tool. And I'll create a little vignette. So something like that. And if I double click on it, change the blend mode to overlay, and then turn on the fill opacity, we'll have this little vignette. All right, so now we can work on the wizard layer. So first things first, we're going to do the same exact thing as we did to the background to the wizard. So now we'll control U, hue and saturation. We'll increase the saturation a bit. Click OK. We'll add the vibrance and the brightness and contrast again. And we'll left Alt to drop down these two layers. We'll increase all of these sliders. All right, and once we finish with that, we're going to go back to the wizard layer and we're going to add a drop shadow. And we'll do this one. Already looks good. So go with these settings right here. So you're done with that, click OK. And then what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to Control T to resize it. And we're going to resize the wizard just a little bit so we can take up more space. Because we want to fill our entire thumbnail. And if we need to resize it later, we can. Alright. So this is what we have so far. And now we're going to add our text. So we'll go over to the text layer, which is T on the keyboard. And the text I'm using is Big Noodle Titling. I will link it down in the description if you want to use the same one as me, but just any kind of big text that just pops out. We're going to change the text to thumbnail. We're going to move it. And then you can copy and paste it by holding left Alt and dragging the text to duplicate it. We'll change this tutorial. All right, so we got our text so far, and this obviously does not look very good. So what we can do to make it a lot better is we'll go double click on our text and we'll change, or we'll add a gradient overlay to it. And the gradient I like to use and a lot of people like to use is this yellow one, which is yellow orange. If you want to see, this is the tag for the yellow right here. And then on the far right, we have an orange. Key for it. And it creates this nice yellow and orange gradient, which will definitely pop out once we add a stroke to it. Maybe we'll increase it just a bit. Maybe to 14. Okay. Once we add the stroke, we'll also add a drop shadow. Go with, yeah, that looks good. So 36, 27, 35. Okay. We're going to click OK now. And now what you can do is you can right click the text we just edited and we can copy layer style and we can paste it onto the other one. So now we have that. And what I'm going to do for this one is for thumbnail, I'm going to double click, go back to gradient overlay, and I'm going to change the gradient to this white and gray one, which if you want to look, it's basically like a white and a light gray, or a white on the far left and then a gray on the right. Click OK. Here's all the settings if you want to look at it. If you want to copy mine, click OK. So now we have this nice text. And what I like to do personally is if we Control T to resize it, we can also rotate it a bit. I'm going to hold left Alt and I'm going to drag the corner to size it down a little bit. We're going to do the same for the other text. All right, so now that our text is all good, what we can do now is right click on the text and rasterize layer style for both of them. And then double click it. And then we'll add another drop shadow, lower down these settings. That right here, 1000, and then we can obviously copy, paste it to the other one, and it just adds another drop shadow to it, pops out a little bit more. And then what I forgot to add is if we go back to the wizard layer, go to filter up top, and we'll go to sharpen, just so becomes a little bit more clear. All right, so this thumbnail looks pretty good so far. What I like to do to add a little bit more of that 3D effect is if we come down here and right above our vignette we made and the blue color layer, we'll add a layer on top of those. We will add a gradient, which is G. We'll drag it across, double click the layer. We go to fill opacity, we drag it all the way down, add a drop shadow and an outer glow. You'll get this this black box, and if it looks something like this, all you got to do is just drag all these down. You can go to outer glow and you can change the size. And now you can press Control T to resize it. Then you could just drag it down and you get this nice black border that will help sell that 3D effect. And then sometimes you'll see how the sides are a different size than the top and bottom. The sides are a lot bigger. What you can do is hold Control and then drag these down, and it won't change the size of the top and bottom bar. So you can make it all even and look nice. Okay. And then you can just double click. And there we go. And to export the thumbnail, all you gotta do is go to File, Export, Save for Web Legacy, go to Save, save in whatever folder you want, and yeah, just upload that to YouTube. And that's pretty much the basics of how I make every thumbnail. I usually like to add effects to it, like flames or electricity. If you guys would like to see a video on how to do that, I'm more than happy to make a video. Just let me know down in the comments. Or if you guys would like to see a video on how I put together the model, texture it so you can make your own, also let me know down in the comments. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys in the next video.